We're still here at Hodoshonni, Sary's Indian Reservation with Chief Beverly, my first cousin, an incredibly surviving person. I was hoping to get you to name your children and grandchildren while we're here.
Oh, my oldest daughter is Galena Howie Thomas. My middle daughter is Ganalatahoe Jackson. My youngest daughter is Jawanda Jackson. I have a son, Harley, and my grandchildren are Quentin, Marcella, and Charlie.
Wow.
I mean, they have Mohawk names too, but...
So you're ready to be a great-great-grandmother now?
Oh my goodness, I know, it could happen any time, but we're not.
Wow, even grandfather for me was a shock. I went, what?
Yeah.
Can't possibly be.
Yeah.
And I came back to the reservation. Unfortunately, I didn't stick it out, but it was a tough time for me because of the illnesses and whatever and alcoholism. And Son Aguade, my mentor, he was the town drunk, and you remember him, but he was just the greatest guy to me on earth. And he said, although they're going to tell you that don't cross that reservation line, you'll be hated on the other side. He said, Guggy, don't listen to them. If you get 200 miles past that reservation, they won't even know it exists. You can be anybody you want to be, do anything you want to do, get yourself on your feet and, go out and explore, which is what I did as soon as I could. And came back to it. I apologize, I'm a Johnny-come-lately Indian, but I'm glad to be back. I've never been anything but proud. And he put the little spark inside of me. He says, always look back at that little spark because it boils back to you. That little spark of pride is all that you've been given by the Creator to keep you going. And I mean, it's held true all the way through. And that's what's carried me through the suicidal years. One story I never told before was I was doing a family reunion up here, and I was in my late 20s talking to another second cousin at a reunion. It was, a wedding. It was either a wedding or a funeral. They're both the same. When they're both buried there, you celebrate. So anyway, we were celebrating, and she said, I goes, well, how's it going, just off the cuff? How's it going in your world? She says, well, actually, it's going good. I mean, 6 months ago, I started doing therapy, and I've gotten a grip on my suicidal tendencies. And I goes, oh, my goodness, you have suicidal tendencies too? And she goes, yeah, we're Native American, we all do. Damn it, I wish somebody told me that 20 years ago, because all this time I'm by myself struggling. You know what I mean? I got a ticket for an inadequate emergency brake one time and came very close to one trigger pull of killing myself because it was my favorite car, and I didn't realize, I thought I was going to be a criminal the rest of my life. And your brain goes off on these weird tangents, and looks at everything with the wrong levity. Right. And you end up possibly sitting on the edge of the St. Lawrence River with a .38 that you borrowed from your friend's dad. Not really borrowed. But you know what I mean. And then all of a sudden you realize, and Son Aguade also says, listen. Well, he said, listen, stupid. But anyway, he said, listen, you're American Indian. You are susceptible to addiction. So pick your poison. Do you want to be a drunk? Do you want to be a workaholic? Do you want to be a smoker? Do you want to be a whatever? Whatever that you fixate on, you're going to do that with such a vengeance till every dog is hung. So pick your poison. Do you want to be a drunk? Do you want to be a whatever? And I was struggling alcoholism at the time. But he was right. And we all, whether it's workaholic or whatever you choose, for some reason you're going to just do it.
Yeah.
Any advice that you had for us? Because we're kind of just poor, lonely creatures stumbling around in the dark out here.
Other than what I mentioned before, I'm not sure what else. That's a big job. Just getting it together and trying to acknowledge those things that you talk about. Though it's really hard because I do a lot of whenever I get the opportunity, I like to speak about what the effects of that adversity is that our people through the centuries have experienced and how that's affected us, not just in the generational transmission, like, having a parent who maybe didn't do a very good job at it, and then you suffer all the consequences of their inadequacies or whatever it is, but the other changes that are transmitted without our knowledge, genetically, or even when we're young, and even some of the things that you talk about that you experience, those challenges, that adversity that we face when we're still developing, how that affects the actual structural formation of our brain and our nervous system while that's going on, because we're supposed to be playing, and we're supposed to be exploring, and we're supposed to be having fun and not a care in the world, and things that we come face to face with that really scare the crap out of us, go away, and our fight or flight systems are supposed to reset. But what if we're on fight or flight all the time and it never shuts off? What impact does that have on us? So I like talking about those things. I just had an opportunity the other day to speak to some young people who are going to be mentoring little kids at the Boys and Girls Club for a summer program. And it was really, it was a fabulous opportunity, but it's also a little bit painful while you're giving that talk, because you can see the reaction on the young people's faces about, wow, this is about me, which is the whole point, because it's all of us that have been through that. So that's where that healing piece needs to come in, to acknowledge, what did that mean to me, and also that I'm not crazy, and I'm not bad, and it wasn't my fault, whatever it was that happened. It just happened to me. So it relieves all of that guilt and self-blame and shame, and then you can move on from there. So that kind of talk, I really like to share that, and like I said, I think people need to face that. It's uncomfortable, and it's not fun, and it's not jolly, but it's real, and I think in the end it offers such relief, from that self-loathing, or the shame, or the guilt, or the lack of confidence that sometimes we have. And
wow.
We grow up with that. So
You're bringing me to tears here. One quick thing, and I'll let you go, because I've threatened you to get a rattle song out of you. We were, Son of Guardia and I was knee-high, or a little bit higher than knee-high, holding his hand. We were walking either to a store or a post office, but a car pulled up and almost ran into us. By accident, not on purpose, but they got out in anger that they were in a hurry, and we were standing in their parking spot, and we didn't know it. They said something awful, totally awful to us as they passed us. Son of Guardia just shrugged it off, and I said, how can you deal with this like that, or whatever I said? And he said, Guggy, every leaf has a story. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All you have to find is someone willing to listen. Mm-hmm. Chief Beverly, I cannot thank you enough for this interview. Oh my goodness. And I didn't even blubber, so worked out good. Thank you. I owe you big time. And we'll see you at the family reunion day after tomorrow.
Great. Yeah.